Welcome everyone. Welcome to the Bridge Builders of Diversity. Today we're going to talk about
Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
and what are those needs?
What are those needs? If you've ever taken an intro to psych course or any kind of psychology course, maybe an education course, they have talked to you about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the things that humans need to feel good about their life and to feel happy. Those needs are physiological. What does that mean?
Well, your food, your water, sleep, your clothes,
Shelter,
reproduction.
Yep, reproduction and digestion. Your digestion.
Yep.
Your everything's functioning properly.
And then the next one is safety.
Safety. Do you feel secure? Do you have shelter? Are you threatened in any way?
Employment.
Right. Are you living in scarcity?
Resources.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you're not meeting that second tier of Maslow's hierarchy.
Yeah.
The third is the one that we love talking about the most, is love and belonging.
Yeah. Which is friendship, intimacy.
Are you part of a club
family.
or a group? Do you feel connected to somebody? Then you're meeting the third tier of love and belonging in Maslow's hierarchy. Then comes the next one that's a little harder to tease out, and it's not everybody gets this, and it's esteem.
Yeah.
Do you feel confident? Do you feel like you've achieved something? Are you respected by, and do you respect others? It's kind of ethereal and something that I don't think everybody gets that feeling in their life, do they? No, I feel respected. Mm-hmm. I respect you.
Yes. If not, I'll give you one of these.
Oh, true that. True. That's very true.
Only kidding. No violence.
And then the top, we are not violent. We goof, but we're not violent. And then at the top of this pyramid, we have self-actualization. And this is something that typically happens at the end of your life. You feel fulfilled. You've done something creative. You've been spontaneous. You have
kind of like what we're doing, living out a dream and a
yes,
passion.
You've lived out a dream, a passion. You've seen or done something that you've always wanted to do.
Take that risk and do it.
Absolutely, swing at it. I always think about mountain climbers when I think of self-actualization, because when people ask them why they climb the mountains, they just say because they're there, and it's something that they have a drive to do, and their drive is admirable. That's why
Yeah, it's cool, but you won't catch me doing it.
Exactly. Yeah, me either. I'm a little old for that stuff. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to put the hierarchy down, and we're going to talk about how this relates to our friends with disabilities, how it relates to the disabled population, and why it's so important. First, we think it needs to be spoken about because it doesn't really get talked about. As a special ed teacher, I often am checking off boxes to make sure I'm doing the best for my students, but they're normally in those bottom tiers. I'm making sure that they're getting enough food, enough sleep. I'm taking care of those basic needs. Do they have access to the bathroom when they need it? Things like that. And
As a mom, I think of very different things. I think of, he doesn't have friends like his brother. Will he have a girlfriend? Do people respect him? Are people going to treat him well? Will he have employment? Those are things that I think parents think about, which is very different than the teachers.
Absolutely. But I've lately started thinking forward for my students with disabilities. I start thinking about ways that they can have friendships, ways that they can feel connected, be part of a team, be part of a group. I want them to get to that middle level of love and belonging. I want others to recognize them as who they are. They're funny. They're spirited. They have expertise.
Mm-hmm. They have desires. They have dreams.
They have hopes and goals.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, especially when you're coming to the end of a school career, I hear a lot about what's available, but I don't hear a lot about, well, what do you want?
Right.
I don't hear people asking kids, with a disability, what do you want to be when you grow up? Or
Right.
where do you see yourself in 5 years? We do that a lot with typically developing students, but are we asking those questions for kids with disabilities?
I don't hear it. I mean, my son's 15, so he's at the post-secondary transition process where they're, giving him tests and figuring out what he's good at to do. But
What he could do, but
Right.
what does he want to do?
Right.
If you've ever seen that movie, The Peanut Butter Falcon, there's a line where one character says to the other, "What do you want for him?" And at first she misinterprets. She was like, "I can't sell him to you." And he was like, "No, no, 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 no. What do you want for his future? What he's got goals. Do you have goals for him?" And that is like a pivotal. That line from that movie. If you get a chance, see it. And I got no compensation for mentioning the movie. But it was really a moment for me, hearing somebody ask that question. He's got goals.
Right.
Do you have goals for him? And I was like, wow,
Right.
that's important. So that really shifted my thinking, and I've started thinking that way, especially for my friends with autism, because they fight a battle of preconceived notions. People really think that they don't want to socialize when in reality they do. They just don't know how. So I've been spending a little bit more time giving my friends with autism the tools to
Right.
engage socially.
Well, like my son has Down syndrome, and there's a lot of preconceived notions about their mental capacity. Because in the old days, they were labeled as mentally retarded, and as we move into a modern day where they're given early intervention and all these services, the majority of people now with Down syndrome do have a normal IQ, which is quite astounding. There are kids with Down syndrome who are severe and profound and extremely high functioning, but the majority of them are in that middle ground.
Within the normal band, right?
Yeah.
Or just slightly impaired, or not unthinking beings that that are only concerned with those first two rungs of the hierarchy. They're only I often think of like a feral cat who who have to search for their basic needs. Not that I'm saying that people with disabilities are feral cats, but if I'm making that analogy, because a feral cat spends their day looking for their basic needs. They're looking for food and shelter and safety. It's after the feral cat gets adopted that they feel that next level of love and belonging. So when now you think about a kid with disabilities, the primary focus has been keeping them alive, keeping them safe. And now let's look at how we can reach out and include people with disabilities and make them feel loved and like they belong.
And they need to be in social groups so they can meet somebody or a potential partner.
That's true. We all need love.
Yes, and it's okay for them to date as well.
It really is.
Yes, I mean, I hope my son finds a girlfriend someday and
I do too.
can experience that type of love, It obviously, we all know that's different than your mom, a dad, or a friend, and
Absolutely. Feel the the little butterflies. Go on a date. Go to the prom. One of the coolest things I ever experienced was going to it was called Unified Prom. It was a prom specifically for kids who had disabilities, but they also invited all of their typical peers to the prom too.
wow.
And it was so wonderful just to see the mixing and the everybody dance together. And I kind of watched some butterflies happening, some those early awakenings of romantic love. It was the sweetest, most wonderful thing.
And, we got to give them the opportunity, and Dr. Michelle, God rest his soul, he was my son's neurodevelopment doctor, but one thing he always used to say, what you put into him is what you'll get from him. So, if you continuously treat him like a 2-year-old, he will only develop to that level,
right. So you
always want to keep raising that bar for them.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely. And think about their esteem, their confidence. What opportunities can you provide for them to move up to that that upper level. I mean, they always say, and when they teach Maslow's hierarchy, that esteem and self-actualization come when you're older. So let's set up those opportunities, because a typical teenager is going to graduate from high school and have opportunities to earn esteem, earn confidence, achievement. They're going to fail a couple times and come back from that and feel that confidence and
what does
respect.
fail mean? First attempt in learning.
Absolutely, we say that every day, every video. We say that first attempt in learning. So I worry about that top cone. I feel like I'm on my way there in my 50s, but I don't worry about that top cone for my students, because I feel like if I give them opportunities to have love and belonging and esteem, that self-actualization will happen for them. Absolutely. On the top of the mountain, or on the ground, wherever you're most comfortable.
All right, if you like our content, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel.
In the meantime, I'm Roberta, a special education teacher, and
I am Sherry. I'm a mother of a child with Down syndrome.
And together we are bridge builders of diversity, bridging the gap for people with disabilities in the typical community through understanding, education, and a spirit of community.
Yeah, don't forget to give us a comment if there's any topics.
Please do. We love hearing from you, and we love answering questions and doing a little research to find out things you might want to know. So in the meantime, we love and appreciate you. Be well.
Bye-bye.